Hey guys, it's Salman Qureshi. You're listening to the Expat Brat podcast. After almost 100 episodes, you know what I think about every time I record? How should I start this episode? What should I say first? It's ridiculous, isn't it? That after all of these episodes, I still go, should I just say hi? Or should I assume people don't know what they're listening to and just, say something along those lines? And I'm still working on it. I'll let you guys know if I ever come to a conclusion and decide this is how I say hi to people. It's abnormal, isn't it? Like I say hi to a bunch of people in real life and it's all fine. And then you come and record something and you go, what should I say? Should I say but there's a lot of thought that goes into this. All right. If you say good morning, then it's kind of like, what if these guys listening aren't listening when I recorded this, which is in the morning? That doesn't make sense. Should I just say, hey, what's up? But I'm not a rapper. And I don't know. What else is there? Like, what else? How else do you say hi? Right? So I'm figuring this out. Life is about figuring out all these kind of different things. And if you're listening, if you're a regular listener, you might, I've got a little bit of a cold, man, courtesy of my lovely wife and kid. I think more my kid than my wife, but they've been bringing this sort of stuff into the house for a while now. It's kind of annoying that I've been falling sick over and over again, but here we are, and this is my sexy cold voice that you're listening to today. It's just starting. It's annoying. I also have to do a video shoot today, which is going to be amazing to have, in your worst moments, to know they've been recorded and saved forever. Isn't that wonderful? It's just for eternity, as long as the internet exists and these videos might be on there or whatever, it's going to be there. People can look it up anytime and go, hey, this is what he sounded like with the cold and flu. I do wonder though, if I do stuff like this, would it throw off AI? You know how it's like imitating people's voice and stuff, and it picks up this voice of mine, which I'm recording right now. I don't even know if it's that different from my regular voice. For all I know, people listening, regular listeners or people who know me, would be like, "No, you sound exactly the same," which would be weird. But imagine AI picks this up, and it goes, right, this is Salman's voice, and we're going to use this to copy it and make some fake videos, except everyone doesn't fall for it because they go, hang on, that doesn't really sound like him. It sounds a little off. It sounds like someone held his nose and threatened him to send out this message. That's how they got him. They got him to, they stopped his breathing, but just through the nose, and said, if you don't say the words that we're asking you to, then you won't be able to breathe. B, we won't let your nose go. And so I had to record it. And so it'll be a big failure. Not that people are lining up or worrying about having to copy my voice. Is that, yeah? These scams and everything, that you guys watch these scam videos online about people falling for Amazon gift cards. A lot of these Indian call centers, they're crazy. You should go check them out. I didn't know. It was a rabbit hole for me. I'm not much on watching random clips and stuff, and eventually I kind of came across these when I've gone through this YouTube binge for some reason these days. And so I kind of came across that stuff, and I just got into it. Anyway, it's if you, for some reason, I've never come across this stuff. It's just people calling and trying to get you to fall for this trap. They send you an email and they go, "Hey, listen, you've been charged for renewal." People call back the number and say, "Hey, I didn't sign up for this, or I need a refund," and then they try to trap you and go. So the whole thing is they kind of they hack into your laptop as you're on it with them. And they kind of make you believe that they've accidentally sent you too much money. So, for example, if your refund was $500, they pretend they've accidentally sent you $5,000 or whatever. They do this after they've kind of sifted through your bank account, and gone, okay, this is the amount of money this person might have. And a lot of old people fall for it. It's very shitty because it's these, it's these innocent old people that might lose a lot of their life savings. They don't know enough. They get scared and they act on that. These scammers act on their fear. And a lot of these call centers are operating out of India, and apparently they make a lot of money. Like, it's millions and millions of dollars we're talking about that are being scammed. So it's a huge thing. And for a long time, I just thought that's the kind of stuff that won't happen to me, especially out here. But lately, a lot of the banks here have been kind of sending out these messages and saying, hey, listen, we'd never ask this kind of information off you. So the scam that kind of runs around this region is that people call up and go, hey, your ID number, your national ID number is not updated on the bank account. We need it. And they try to get more info. I find those calls really interesting and funny. They're terrible. They call from cell phone numbers. So it's very amateurish in some ways, and it's very easy to catch it versus some of the other more elaborate scammers. And again, I think a lot of the people trying it are people from the subcontinent. So Indian, Pakistani scammers are out there trying this. They use local numbers. I'm not sure if they're actually based in the country. And the reason I bring this up, I don't know, is I've been getting a lot of calls lately. I've seen a lot of emails, some of them horrible. Sometimes I want to advise them and go, listen, you could do this better by doing this. But of course I don't, because I don't want to make them better at this. It's so horrible that I go, who designed this stuff? Like, who, and are they actually making any money out of this? Are they kind of like, are people actually falling for that here? You never know, right? Like, again, there's some people who are not educated enough. You've got a lot of labor class. You've got older people who might just not pay attention. And I mean, people I know have kind of passed comments, and I had to go, no, don't ever give that kind of information out. So it's a big thing here now, and we're looking at like this weird kind of situation with it. I'd love to think, like, I want to go behind their lives and check it out and go, how did they get into this? How brave are they to try it in a country like this where they could get in serious trouble? Probably easier to catch here. I don't know. Unless, again, like, they're operating out of the country, then in which case, I'm not sure how they make the bank transfers and stuff. Like, even if they get all my info, when they're actually trying to transfer money, banks have like loads of other safety kind of double checks. Like, I get an OTP to my phone number and my email. I get a notification immediately when someone's added on. So they'd have to change my email and my phone number without me actually being able to stop them. And I don't know if that's possible. So I don't know the next step that they do take in this. And I've never had a long enough conversation with them because A, no one's got time. B, whenever they call and go, sir, all your money will freeze, I just pretend to panic, and they know I'm playing with them as well, and they shut the phone down. Some of them love to curse out. Like, they, the fact that they've been caught. I don't even say, like, I know what you're doing. Just the fact that they realize I'm messing with them makes them really, like, ugly, and that's another thing that's really weird about these guys. They love to abuse. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably deep down they have issues with the whole thing themselves, right? Like, at some level they must feel bad, some of these guys, and I think by screaming and shouting and cursing, they kind of are trying to get like offset it, or like just get rid of that guilty feeling, and they lash out by doing that, or they don't want to be embarrassed. Because I bet a lot of people would probably also say, hey, aren't you ashamed of yourself and stuff? And so I think to preempt having to listen to that and feel bad for the rest of the day, they just go, let's start cussing these people out. And it's interesting. Some people will just cut off. I also don't know whether it's worth reporting those numbers on and off, but I have seen a bit of a trend, an increase in in the amount of this stuff happening. And I don't know, again, is it because it's easy money, or people are desperate, or a combination of both? I can imagine it might be because, they just want to make some money somehow, right? So probably different mix of people as well doing it. Anyway, it's a dumb way. It's very short term. You might succeed a little bit at the beginning. The guys running these scam centers are the ones making real money, and you're just a little pawn. And I don't even know who I'm lecturing, because I know my listeners are not the type that will be. But for some reason, if you're listening to this podcast and you're considering this, I would just say it's a very bad idea for the long term, because unless you're running your own call center. See, I'm not trying to give you tips on how to do this right. I just think it's people who really will be willing to push anyone under the bus, and those people make the money, and those people will kind of they look at these guys are probably like just churning them out. So one goes, another one comes out, blah blah blah. They don't care. You're doing a call center job for them, and they make the big money over long term. Those guys will probably be okay. Individuals, not so much. Imagine being exposed. Imagine not having a career after this. I don't know. I think it would go a long way to destroy your future, unless one more way is to go. You do it, and then you kind of play the game of I've learned my lesson from this, and then go on like a YouTube and try to create a whole vlog about how you used to do it, and these are the tricks and tips, and this is how to combat that. That would be kind of cool, right? So I'm giving career options to these guys now. If you happen to have a call from one of these guys, please recommend this episode and tell them, listen, you gotta listen to this guy. He's got some great options for you. You're gonna enjoy it. You might do better in life because, see, I'm such a nice guy. I help out everyone and anyone, and I hope these people stop, man, because I do really feel bad for the victims. Anyone who's lost a big chunk, I know how that feels. I haven't been scammed, not in this traditional sense, but everyone at some point has made a mistake and lost a lot of money or whatever, and I think that's it's a hard one. I think it's one of those that it sticks with you forever. It's hard to kind of let go and sort yourself out of it, because anytime there's a little bit of struggle in life, that those stories come back into your life, and you go, if I only hadn't lost that money, I would have been here or there. And it's this line of thought that you just gotta nip in the bud. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's me and scamming, and what I think about it, and how you can help these people out. I'm just saying shit now. It's a hard one, because it's the end of the year. I get like this because it's this thing in my head that starts going, okay, what'd you do all year? How did it go? My last episode was kind of going down that stream as well. This time it's a bit more, because okay. So one of the worst things, and at the same time, one of the best things you can do, is because of all this stuff, we do all our shopping through debit cards and stuff, right? So it's so easy to pull out all the data. And for me, the biggest shock was the amount of money I spent on eating out. It was ridiculous. And this is after, at the beginning of the year, I thought I'm going to keep a bit of a lookout on that. And I haven't even finished tallying that up, and the amount that's already hit, I'm like, wow. My whole goal for the coming year, if there's only one thing I do, and that's cutting this number by at least 2/3, I think I will be so pleased with myself. I think I will feel better about my life. With everything else could go wrong right now, but that number for me was the biggest shock. And I wonder if you do it, I think you should take some time to do it. right? I think some people are financially savvy. They watch out for, but for a lot of us who are, I don't know, messed up in the head, ADHD or whatever it is that, makes it harder for you to kind of keep tabs on things. This is a great way. Digitalization has been a real help for people like me, in terms of carrying a calendar on my phone, in terms of having this data, because I know I'd lose receipts. I'd never sit down and finish tallying that up against a manual bank account or whatever it is, or wondering where all my cash went. I've really forced myself to digitize, mainly because it really helps me to look at data, and see what and how. I need to like shock myself every so often. It's like just taking, what do you call it, the fibrillators, and just pumping into your chest to shock yourself up and go, I gotta stop doing that. And so, yeah, I wonder if you're anyway a little bit like me in any way whatsoever. Have a look at it and see where you stand and where you spent the most money. I've been good in some areas. I'm actually quite pleased. I've really stopped some things, but I think eating out, and there's too much entertainment in my life. I keep going, oh, life's boring. But when I look at how much I ate or did stuff outside or spent on these subscriptions, oh my Lord, the amount of subscriptions I have, I just went, let's cut this stuff in half. It was like the easiest answer to what I need to be better at, and it's kind of like, I've always had a hard time watching the pennies, and lately I've been fixated on it. Not fixated, but kind of conscious of it, and I've realized, damn, I've been losing a lot of pennies all my life. And so I think if you come back in a year, end of 2024, and I hope I'm able to stick through this, I want to know the impact of watching my pennies go through. A couple of other things I will be doing in the coming year is I'm going to cut down my social media time. Financially, that hasn't made an impact, but I kind of want to narrow it down to a few things. So you might find a very different experience with me online. And again, I'm excited about it in some way. So, it's the worst was for me was another part that I failed completely at, was my weight. And it's been a trend for the last 3-4 years, and I've been sick of it and blah blah blah, but it keeps it's plateaued. At least it hasn't gotten worse, but it's kind of just stalled, and I feel like my fat is frozen in my body. And that's another area that I'm just like, man, I gotta just break through this wall. So it's been I know 2023 hasn't been wonderful, but it's still kind of helping me align in. I'm also recording this outside a little bit. So have you noticed these cars with the reindeer stuff? I found when I saw one of them do it, I thought it was quite cute. Now I'm just kind of annoyed at it. I don't know why. It's like this big red nose they put on the front and then these 2 ears sticking out. And I'm like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to... How far away from nature are we that we need to do silly things like this? I just want to rip it off. The first time, I'm not joking. The first time I thought it was quite cute, but now every time I see it, it's too many cars. There's too many of these SUVs doing it. Rich people with too much time on their hands. Just grab them by the ears, not the people, but the reindeer things they put on their car, and just rip it off like fast Band-Aid, and just go stop it. I the Christmas spirit, Range Rover, dressed like a reindeer. We always complain about these holidays becoming too commercial, and I think that's what bugs me. It's always bugged me. It's always it's one of the things that drove me away from a lot of these holidays and how we celebrate them, and just knowing that, yeah, there's this spirit behind it and the idea behind it that's great, but who does it with that? Let's be honest. And so are we just fooling ourselves and going, oh, there's a great spirit behind it? Or are we just masking our commercialism and our need to celebrate this in whatever way that we like, and just finding an excuse to do it and masking it with this with this idea that, oh no, the idea behind it is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I don't know anything that's beautiful about sending a old guy up in the North Pole to work on gifts all year long with a bunch of short people slaves. I'm so glad I was born in, in the Middle East, and so because if I was born in the West, well, I'm short. Would that mean I'd be an elf my whole? Oh my Lord, right? That would be horrible. That would be horrible. Reindeers and elves and the Christmas spirit, people. That's where we're at. That's what I'm up to these days. It is crazy. So scammers and commercial holidays, kind of similar topics, aren't they? Yeah, wonderful. All right, guys, it's been great recording this episode. I think my nose can't take it any longer. It feels like it needs to run away, and my brain's a bit clogged up too, so I can't believe I've actually managed to finish up this episode. But I hope you enjoyed it, and keep listening and share it, blah blah blah, whatever. And also, I'm gonna try recording one last episode to sum up the whole year. But in case I don't, because I don't know, I'm lazy like that sometimes. Have a great new year ahead. Make those plans. Don't worry about stuff that went down this year, and just have a good one. Okay, you take care, and I'll catch you in my next episode. Thanks for listening.